You've been running from this battle for as long as you can remember. You've tried to hide it, control it, even erase it from your life. You've prayed until your throat was raw. You've fasted until your body shook. You've deleted the apps, blocked the websites, thrown away the magazines, cried into your pillow night after night. And still, it's there. That same fire inside you that won't die. That same pull that drags your thoughts into places you promised yourself you'd never go. And in those quiet moments when nobody sees, you whisper into the dark, "Why, God? Why won't you take this from me?" And silence answers back like the world itself has abandoned you. But listen slowly, because what I am about to tell you may shake you in ways you've never imagined. What if the thing you're desperate to escape, the thing you hate the most, is the very thing God is using to shape you? What if this thorn in your flesh, this relentless struggle, isn't punishment at all, but a divine instrument to rebuild you from the inside out? What if your weakness is actually your weapon? You've been told lust is sin, shame, failure. But the truth no one tells you is that lust is also a symptom that points to something deeper, something your soul has been starving for. You're not just fighting desire, you're fighting emptiness, craving love, attention, validation, connection. And every time you give in, shame whispers that you're unworthy, that God could never love someone like you, that you're broken beyond repair. But none of that is real. The enemy lies. He tries to make you forget who you are. He wants you to see only your weakness, only the dirt, only the shame. But God sees your heart. He sees the struggle, and He sees the potential hidden inside that struggle. Because the very battle you hate may be the doorway to your greatest strength. Every time temptation hits, it's not God testing you just to hurt you. He's not punishing you for your past. He's teaching you dependence, humility, and surrender. He's pulling pride from your life piece by piece so He can replace it with something stronger, something that lasts. You see, deliverance without dependence is meaningless. Freedom without intimacy with God is empty. And sometimes the thing you wish would disappear, the desire you hate, is exactly what keeps you close enough to hear His whisper. What if the struggle itself is the sign that you're chosen for something greater? Remember Paul? He begged God 3 times to remove his thorn. We don't know what it was, maybe sickness, maybe temptation, but God didn't take it away. He said, "My grace is sufficient." Not instant freedom, not immediate healing, just grace. And in that grace, Paul found strength. And maybe, just maybe, the thorn in your life isn't a curse. Maybe it's the thing keeping you alive spiritually. Maybe it's what stops you from drifting into complacency. Maybe it's exactly what you need to grow stronger, deeper, wiser, more dependent on God than ever before. What if your prison is actually your training ground? Think about Joseph, tempted by power, lust, desire every single day. He ran, he resisted, and where did it take him? Prison, not the palace, not the throne. But the prison wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. Before God gives promotion, He gives the test. Before the crown, there is the cross. Before the glory, there is the fire. Your struggle, your delay, your repeated failure. It's not divine cruelty, it's divine crafting. God is refining the heart that He intends to trust with destiny. And every time you rise after falling, every tear you cry, every confession you make, every prayer you whisper in the dark, heaven records it. Your breakthrough is being written in real time, even when you feel unseen. What if every temptation you resist builds a fortress around your future? The enemy attacks your eyes first. Lust always begins with vision. Eve looked, desired, took. Thousands of years later, the pattern hasn't changed. That's why Scripture says, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Not because God is cruel, but because vision is powerful. What you allow into your mind can chain your heart. And every time you choose what is holy over what is easy, you're creating boundaries that protect not just your purity, but your destiny. And just like Jesus, tempted in every way but never sinning, you too can fight. Not with shame, not with guilt, not with fear, but with Scripture, with prayer, with surrender. What if the 3 words you speak in the dark could shake the enemy to his core? You don't need your strength to overcome. You need a decision. Say it out loud. I choose purity. 3 words. A declaration. A weapon. Confession isn't weakness. Worship isn't optional. Every act of surrender breaks chains the enemy hoped would last forever. Lust thrives in the shadows, but in the light it dies. You are not alone. You're part of an army that fights unseen. Every step you take, every victory, no matter how small, contributes to something bigger, something eternal. What if the very struggle you hate most will become the stage where God's glory shines the brightest? The wilderness of temptation isn't a place of abandonment, it's a proving ground. God doesn't waste tears, nights of wrestling, moments of weakness. Each one builds endurance, humility, and dependence. It shapes a heart that worships even in the fire. It forms someone who can walk in the Spirit, who can resist the flesh, who can stand in authority when freedom finally comes. And every time you whisper, Jesus, help me, you're taking another step toward a story that will heal others, a story that will inspire others, a story that will light the path for someone who thinks they are alone. What if your battle is the proof that hell knows you're dangerous? The enemy strikes your purity because he fears what God can do through you. But your struggle is not evidence of failure. It's evidence of significance. Evidence that you are a threat to darkness. Evidence that God is actively shaping you for the calling you can't see yet. And in the middle of every temptation, every shame-filled thought, every late-night weakness, you have the choice. You can cling to Him. You can rise again. You can choose purity. You can worship. You can declare the truth. You can break agreements the enemy thought would hold you forever. What if every tear, every whispered prayer, every moment you thought you failed is actually building your testimony? You are not your lust. You are not your shame. You are not your past. You are not your momentary failures. You are overcomer, redeemed, chosen, beloved. And even in your weakest moments, God is closer to you than ever. He never leaves. He never abandons. He sees. He redeems. He shapes. He prepares. And the battle that feels endless is actually the path to your strongest self. What if tonight everything changes simply because you decide to rise again? And tonight, when temptation comes, when the pull hits again, remember this. The thorn is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's your guide. It's the thing that keeps you close to the only one who can save you. And when you choose to rise, to confess, to worship, to pray, to say, I choose purity, heaven moves. Darkness trembles. Chains break. And your story begins to change. Not tomorrow, not someday, but tonight. Tonight you choose who you really are. And one day, the battle you hate most will become the story that brings freedom to someone else. Your struggle is not wasted. Your battle is not pointless. Your pain is not ignored. And your victory is coming.